The stars burned cold above the planet Varath 7 when young Kira Chen first saw the flames fall from the sky. She was only 17 years old, a student at the colony's small academy, and she had never seen war before that night. The Fire Overlord's ships descended like angry red meteors, their engines screaming through the thin atmosphere. Within hours, the peaceful mining colony she called home became a place of ash and terror. The Fire Overlord was a creature from the darkest legends of the galaxy. His true name was Vorax the Eternal, and he had ruled over a vast empire of conquered worlds for 300 years. His species, the Pirathi, were evolved predators from a volcanic world. They stood 8 feet tall, with scales that glowed like hot coals and eyes that burned with ancient hunger. To the Pirathi, other species were nothing more than prey or slaves. They had conquered 100 worlds and destroyed twice as many more. Vorax himself was the most terrible of them all. He'd killed his own father to take the throne. He had burned entire civilizations because they refused to kneel. The Galactic Council feared him so much that they had agreed to pay him tribute for decades, hoping to keep his hunger satisfied. But the Fire Overlord's appetite was endless, and now he had turned his burning gaze toward human space. Kira survived the attack on Varath 7 by hiding in a collapsed mine shaft. She stayed there for 3 days, listening to the screams above, breathing recycled air from her emergency mask. When she finally crawled out, she found nothing but ruins. Her parents were gone. Her friends were gone. The colony of 10,000 souls had been reduced to less than 200 survivors, all of them now slaves being loaded onto Pirathi transport ships. She should have been taken too, but something inside Kira refused to accept defeat. As the Pirathi soldiers herded the survivors toward the ships, she slipped away into the burning wreckage of the colony's communication center. There, among the melted computers and broken equipment, she found a single working transmitter. With shaking hands, she sent a message to anyone who might hear it. She told them what had happened. She told them the Fire Overlord had broken the peace treaty. She told them that humanity needed help. The response came not from the Galactic Council, but from an old human ship captain named Marcus Webb. His vessel, the Defiant Spirit, was a battered cargo hauler that had seen better days. Marcus was 60 years old, a former soldier who had left the military after losing too many friends to wars that seemed to have no end. He had sworn never to fight again. But when he heard Kira's voice on the emergency channel, something in him changed. Marcus reached Varath 7 12 hours after the attack. By then, the Pirathi ships had left, taking their new slaves to the Fire Overlord's throne world. But Kira was still there, waiting in the ruins, refusing to give up hope. When the old captain found her, covered in ash and barely conscious from dehydration, he saw something in her eyes that reminded him of himself many years ago. "You sent that message," he said, offering her water. "You're just a kid, and you sent a message that will change everything." Kira drank deeply before answering. Someone had to tell the truth. The council won't stop him. They're too afraid. But humans aren't afraid. We can't be. Not anymore. Marcus studied her for a long moment. He had met many brave people in his life, but he had never met anyone quite like this young woman. She had lost everything, and yet she spoke of fighting back as if it were the most natural thing in the universe. "The Fire Overlord has a fleet of 10,000 ships," he told her. "He has armies that have never known defeat. What exactly do you think 2 humans in a broken cargo hauler can do against all of that?" Kira looked up at the smoke-filled sky. "I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out." Over the following months, Kira's message spread across the galaxy. Her words reached human colonies on 100 different worlds. They reached alien species who had suffered under Pirathi rule for generations. They even reached members of the Galactic Council who had grown tired of living in fear. A resistance movement began to form, slowly at first, then with growing speed. Kira trained every day aboard the Defiant Spirit. Marcus taught her how to fight, how to shoot, how to pilot a ship through hostile space. She learned fast, driven by a cold fire that burned inside her heart. She wasn't motivated by revenge, though she had every reason to be. She was motivated by something simpler and more powerful, the belief that the universe could be better than it was. The Fire Overlord heard about the young human who was causing trouble in his empire. At first, he laughed. What could one child do against his might? He had crushed rebellions led by ancient kings and warrior races. A teenage girl from a mining colony was beneath his notice. But the laughter stopped when Kira and her growing band of followers attacked the Pirathi supply depot and freed 500 slaves. It stopped again when they destroyed a communications relay that had taken the Pirathi decades to build. And it stopped completely when Kira broadcast a message directly to the Fire Overlord himself. "My name is Kira Chun," she said, her face appearing on screens throughout his palace. "You burned my home. You killed my family. You think you're a god, but you're not. You're just a bully with a big army. And bullies can be beaten. I'm going to prove it." Vorax the Eternal watched the message 3 times. His scales flickered with barely contained rage. No one had ever spoken to him like that. No one had ever dared. He gave orders to his fleet commanders: find the human girl and bring her to him alive. He wanted to watch her burn. The hunt lasted for 6 months. Pirathi ships chased Kira across the galaxy. They destroyed planets that gave her shelter. They tortured prisoners for information about her location. But Kira always stayed one step ahead, warned by a growing network of spies and sympathizers. Each time she escaped, her legend grew larger. During this time, Kira met others who would become her closest allies. There was Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a brilliant scientist who had developed new shield technology that could resist Pirathi fire weapons. There was General Korath, a massive alien warrior from a species called the Vorthan, who had lost his entire clan to Pirathi slavers. There was even a Pirathi himself, a young soldier named Telos, who had grown sick of his people's cruelty and chosen to fight against them. Together, they formed the core of what would become the Liberation Fleet. Ships came from everywhere: human colonies, alien worlds, even the Galactic Council itself. For the first time in 300 years, the galaxy was uniting against the Fire Overlord. But Kira knew that ships and soldiers wouldn't be enough. Vorax had survived countless battles. His personal guard was made up of the deadliest warriors in the galaxy. If they wanted to truly end his reign, they would need to do something no one had ever done before. They would need to challenge him directly. The throne world of the Pirathi Empire was called Ignis Prime. It was a planet of fire and ash, where rivers of lava flowed between black volcanic mountains. The Fire Overlord's palace sat at the center of the largest continent, a fortress of obsidian and steel that had never been breached. Kira stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Defiant Hope, and watched it grow larger on the view screen. "Are you sure about this?" Marcus asked. He was old now, his hair completely white, but his eyes were still sharp. "Once we commit to this attack, there's no going back." Kira nodded. She was 20 years old now, no longer the frightened teenager who had hidden in a mine shaft. 3 years of war had hardened her, but they hadn't broken her spirit. "The Council has agreed to support us. The Vorthan fleet is in position. Dr. Tanaka's shields have been installed on all our ships. We'll never have a better chance than this." "And the challenge?" Marcus pressed. "You know what happens if you lose." Kira smiled, though there was no humor in it. "I know. But if I don't do this, the war will never end. Vorax needs to be defeated publicly in front of his own people. That's the only way to truly break his power." The battle for Ignis Prime began at dawn. The Liberation Fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel in perfect formation, over 5,000 ships strong. They were outnumbered 2-1, but they had surprise on their side, along with shields that the Pirathi had never encountered before. The Pirathi fleet responded with brutal efficiency. Fire streamed across space as thousands of weapons discharged at once. Ships exploded on both sides. General Korath led the Vorthan warriors in a devastating charge against the enemy's left flank, while human pilots flew daring attacks against the Parathi command ships. But Kira wasn't focused on the battle above. She was in a small shuttle, racing toward the planet's surface with Tellus and a team of elite soldiers. Their target was the palace itself. "The Fire Overlord knows you're coming," Tellus warned as they descended through clouds of volcanic ash. "He's been waiting for this moment. He wants to kill you himself." "Good," Kira replied. "That means he won't run." They landed in the palace courtyard, fighting through waves of Parathi guards. Kira moved like water, her movements fluid and precise. She had trained for this day for 3 years. Every step, every strike, every breath had been leading to this moment. The throne room doors opened before her. Inside, sitting on a chair made of solidified lava, was Vorax the Eternal. He was even larger than she had imagined, his scales glowing with internal fire. His eyes burned like twin suns as he watched her approach. "The little human," he said, his voice like grinding stone. "I have waited a long time to meet you. Your kind is so fragile, so weak. And yet you have caused me more trouble than entire civilizations." Kira stepped forward, her weapon at her side. "I challenge you, Vorax, single combat. According to the ancient laws of your people, if I win, your empire surrenders. If you win, the Liberation Fleet withdraws." Laughter erupted from the Parathi guards around the room. A human challenging the Fire Overlord? It was absurd. Vorax himself seemed amused. "You are either very brave or very foolish," he said, rising from his throne. "I have killed thousands in single combat. Warriors from species far stronger than yours. What makes you think you can defeat me?" Kira met his burning gaze without flinching. "Because I'm fighting for something more than power. I'm fighting for everyone you've ever hurt, every slave you've taken, every world you've burned. Their strength is my strength." Vorax studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "Very well, little human. I accept your challenge. And when I tear you apart, I will broadcast your death to every corner of the galaxy. Your people will learn that hope is just another word for weakness." The combat arena was a circle of black stone surrounded by rivers of lava. Cameras broadcast the fight to billions of viewers across the galaxy. The battle above Ignis Prime paused as both fleets watched their leaders face each other. Vorax attacked first, moving with impossible speed for something so large. His claws swept through the air like burning swords. Kira dodged, rolled, and struck back with her blade. The metal hissed against his scales, but didn't cut through. The fight lasted for an hour. Kira was thrown across the arena again and again. She was burned, cut, and bruised. Blood ran from a dozen wounds, but she kept getting up. Every time Vorax knocked her down, she stood again. "Why won't you stay down?" Vorax roared, frustration finally showing in his voice. "You should be dead 10 times over." Kira spat blood and raised her weapon. "Because I'm human, and humans don't give up. We never have. We crawled out of caves and reached for the stars. We survived ice ages and plagues and wars. We're small and fragile and short-lived, but we're also stubborn beyond all reason. You can burn our worlds and kill our people, but you will never destroy our spirit." She charged at him one more time. Vorax swung his claws in a killing blow. But Kira had been watching him, learning his patterns, waiting for this moment. She ducked under the strike and drove her blade upward, into the one spot where his scales didn't overlap completely, right beneath his chin. The Fire Overlord stumbled. For the first time in 300 years, he felt fear. He fell to his knees, the blade still embedded in his throat. Kira stood over him, breathing hard. "This is how it ends," she said quietly. "Not with your armies or your ships. Just you and me." Vorax tried to speak, but only flames escaped his lips. Then his eyes dimmed, and the fire overlord was no more. Silence fell over the throne room. The Pirathi guards looked at each other in shock. Their god king, the eternal ruler who had never lost a battle, had been defeated by a human girl. Telas stepped forward and bowed to Kira. "By our ancient laws, you have earned the right to command the Pirathi Empire. What are your orders?" Kira looked at him, then at the cameras still broadcasting to the galaxy. "I don't want your empire. No one should have that much power. What I want is for every slave to be freed. What I want is for the Pirathi to join the Galactic Council as equals, not masters. What I want is for this galaxy to know peace." Over the following years, that's exactly what happened. The Pirathi Empire dissolved, replaced by a federation of free worlds. The slaves were released, and many chose to stay and build new lives on planets that had once been their prisons. The Galactic Council grew stronger, finally free from the shadow of fear that had hung over it for centuries. Kira never took a position of power. She returned to Vareth 7, which had been rebuilt in her absence, and helped establish a memorial for those who had died. Marcus joined her there, finally retiring after a lifetime of war and wandering. Sometimes, young aliens would visit her colony, eager to meet the human who had killed the Fire Overlord. They expected to find a legendary warrior, tall and strong. Instead, they found a small woman with kind eyes and gray streaks in her hair, who spent her days teaching children and tending her garden. "Were you scared?" they would always ask, "when you fought him?" And Kira would smile and nod. "Of course I was scared. Being brave doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you do what needs to be done anyway. That's the human way. That's always been the human way." The young visitors would leave with stars in their eyes, carrying her words back to their own worlds. And across the galaxy, whenever someone faced impossible odds, whenever someone needed courage to stand against darkness, they would remember the story of Kira Chun. They would remember that a teenage girl from a mining colony had faced down the most terrible predator in the universe and won. Not because she was special, not because she had powers or gifts that others lacked, but simply because she refused to give up. Because that's what humans do. Humanity. Sometimes the smallest species can cast the longest shadow.